Okay, so as I like to say with these things, as long as everything is working the way it's supposed to be working, we are now live. So, hello and welcome to everyone who is watching the Written in Melanin channel. Wherever this day may have found you, I'm so glad that you are here. My name is Chelsea, and I write books about black girls who aren't all that nice. And my apologies for being a little late, you guys. I have this thing with time management where it's just like I think I have way more time available to me than I actually have available to me. So I was taking my time, like just getting myself together this morning and then like eating breakfast and like taking care of myself. Such a wild concept. And because I was late, I was like, I need to actually like pull up this stuff. So here we are. Here we are. But hello to everyone who is here. Patty was here first. The sad part is that the time of the writing sprint is the same time as the useless slow shedding schedule. Ah, okay. But I'll watch the repeat on your vlog later when I wake up during the night. Fair. I hope you have a good night, and I will see you in the future. I guess that's how this works. Um, let's see here. Ready to sprint. Artemis is here. Hello. Good morning. Afro Faye is here. Joining for some editing work today. Awesome. Love that. So, I am still getting a little bit set up so that everything looks the way that I need it to on my screen. So, first sprint will be starting at 11:10. I'm Eastern Standard Time, so it's like 11 o'clock ish here. So, that'll be the first sprint, and then we will go from there. But yeah, how are you guys doing? How has things been for you guys thus far? Here we go. There we go. Not me trying to like adjust so that my word count is actually on screen. If you were curious as to what I was doing, that's my current struggle. So there we go. There we go. But yeah, Ash is here as well. Hello, welcome. So, as for me, my goal for today, as y'all can probably see by now, is roughly 2,700 words. So, this first sprint, I am going to be going over what I wrote yesterday for chapter 13. And then, once that is like good to go, I'm going to be moving on to writing chapter 14. So, I'm kind of at a point where it's like everything that I'm writing at this point, it's just like it has to happen, but there's so much like creative freedom in this aspect of what I'm writing currently, and I'm just kind of like, oh, okay, we'll see. We will see where this goes because I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It's really up in the ceiling as to like how the characters get from point A to point B, and this happens a lot in my process. So like for We Are the Origin, I don't know like if I've ever said this on stream before, but one of my coaching clients, he asked me, we were talking about my book and he had a question, and I pointed out to him that like it's cool not to know everything, because if you've read We Are the Origin, I feel like it's only fair that y'all should know that when I was like outlining it and drafting it, the entire part between the entire part where they're in Karna's domain was not planned. All of that was just kind of like on the fly, like, oh, this sounds good, while I was writing it. And that's like it's a good chunk of the book, but I had no idea what was happening. I was figuring out what was happening as I was writing it. So I'm kind of in the same era of writing with We Are Dying Gods, and it's just one of those things where I'm just like, okay, we're gonna see how this works out. We're gonna see where this goes. And yeah, that's gonna be it. That's gonna be it. But so far so good. I'm just I don't know. I'm a little I don't know. I don't know how to word it. I'm just kind of like, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this goes. We'll see how this works out. But yeah. Let's see here. Everybody say it's been a not so great week. Oh no. But I've been writing a lot, which is the one good thing going for me right now. My goal today is somewhere around 500 words, but I've been struggling a lot with this scene, so we'll see how far I actually get. Yeah, I feel that. I'm sorry you haven't been having a great week, though. I hope it gets better. It's Thursday, so at least tomorrow's Friday, right? At least that's a win. That's a win in its own way. But yeah. You know what would be helpful, you guys, if I actually pulled up Chill Hop so that it could be playing in the background. But But I hope you do get your 500 words in today. As for me, like I'm really just trying to keep the momentum and not get super far behind because yay, we'll see. Oh, I also have to sign a book and get ready to send that out because I only have what? How many do I have left? One, two, three, four, five, six. I have exactly 6 copies of the limited edition left of it for available purchase available for purchase. I have 6 copies left, so I also have to sign that on this first sprint so that it's ready to go out once I get off stream. But that being said, you guys, it is 10 minutes after the hour, so we're gonna jump into this first sprint. I think the timer is still set for 45 minutes, so I might have lied just a little bit. Give me a second to give me a second to adjust it. Do you guys want to do 25 or 30 minutes? I think I'm going to bring it back down to 25. But let me know how you guys are feeling, and we'll go from there. But this first sprint is going to be 25 minutes, but let me know if y'all want to do longer sprints today. But that being said, let's go ahead and get into this first one. So happy sprinting, you guys. All right, you guys, that is it for our first sprint. So let me know what you did, how you did, all of that good stuff. And of course, this is your reminder as well to do whatever it is that you need to do to take care of yourself. So stretch, breathe, drink some water, do whatever you need to do to take care of yourself. And yeah, let me know how you did. As for me, I am still working my way through chapter 13, kind of reviewing what I wrote and kind of like refreshing myself since it's still very new. I just kind of want to make sure that whatever I'm writing for today like actually builds off of what I was writing before. And I've been like adding a little things here and there just to like kind of make it a little bit more cohesive. So I'm up to 194 words so far. So I'm not mad at it, especially for this to just be a read through. This chapter is going a lot faster. Like just reading through it, it reads faster than my previous chapter. So I'm thinking that's a good thing, because I know sometimes, especially with world building and new concepts, things can get a little dense. So I'm really glad that this one is going a little easier. Um, Also, 10 minutes on the clock. So we'll jump back into our next sprint in roughly 10 minutes. So, yeah, yeah. Also, let's see here. Author Kay McCoy came in. Hello, how are you doing? I'm glad that you're here sprinting with us. Let's see here. RC Scott is also here. Welcome. Morgan is here. Let's see here. Armis got 5 pages edited. Whoop whoop. I'm glad you're making progress. And question, are you like self-editing or do you edit for other people? Like, I feel like I've asked you this before, but something that y'all have to know about me is like my short-term memory is completely it's garbage. It's complete garbage. So if I asked you the same question multiple times, I'm so sorry. But yeah, let me know. Curious. um let's see here. Arthur K. McCoy said, did a quick read through the last chapter I worked on for my novella and decided to write it all from the main character's point of view. So wish me luck. Good luck. You got this. You got this. Figuring out what you need to do is like half the battle. So you got this. You got this. Let's see here. Afroface, I got a bit more through this problem scene. Only a few. I'm kind of feeling my way around right now. Cool. I understand that 100%. So like sometimes you just have to like fumble through the dark until you get to where you need to be. You know, it'll make sense on the other side of that. Like we just have to believe that. Just keep going. It'll work itself out. It'll work itself out. Let's see here. World building sounds like so much fun, but definitely challenging. Honestly, I love world building so much because I am very much of the mindset that, you know, when you, and this is, I don't know how this sounds, but it's just like for me at least, it's like when I know my characters, I figure out the world that they're in by how they interact with it. So it's not like I'm like, oh, yeah, like this world has got like multiple gods and there are going to be different domains and they're going to have like different boundaries and they're going to have different levels of technology and yada yada yada. It was more so like this character, like the way I created the domains for the original book, it was just kind of like I knew that Brandy was going to be linked to the goddess. I knew that she was going to have a really close relationship with her. So how, and because she's the goddess of death, I knew that she was going to have a different type of relationship with like, you know, getting rid of people, you know, like I knew that from the very beginning, but I also knew that that wasn't going to be the like entire world's interaction with like death and things like that. So I was just like, okay, why would this be different? And then as she met other characters and other characters were introduced to the story, specifically Sarah, I was like, see, Sarah interacts with the world completely different from Brandy. And that's because of like where she is and where she's from and like what she knows to be like normal or whatever. And when I started thinking about what's normal for her, it's like, okay, well, why is this normal? And then that's kind of where the other gods came in and their boundaries and how people interact with them and everything else. It kind of came from what the characters themselves know and how they interact with the world and how they interact with each other and how those differences influence how they interact with each other. Because Sarah is a lot softer just because she has grown up in Asari's domain and there's not a whole lot of technology and it's a very close knit community. And she is very much like using her looks and, you know, her oh woe is me kind of like backstory to get what she needs. But that doesn't really work with Brandy and that causes tension between them. So that is kind of how I build out the world. So the scene that I'm working on now, it has another character who hasn't been introduced in the previous book. And it's just kind of like, okay, well, where does she come from? What's her background? How does she interact with the world? And it's just like the things that she knows are completely different from what Brandy knows. And it's just kind of reconciling those things so that two things can be true at one time. Like Brandy knows a lot and she has a very close relationship with the gods, but that doesn't mean that she knows absolutely everything, which I am not going to give away too much. But you know, book 2 is called We Are Dying Gods, and things start to get real for Brandy in this book. So that's kind of like my whole process with world building, kind of in a nutshell. And I love doing it because I love creating characters and I love kind of knowing why they think and they function the way that they do. And I love the tension that comes from that. Like especially with people who have two very clashing ideologies like Sarah and Brandy, they are on complete opposite ends of the spectrum. And I also really like writing little things into like characters. So like If you guys haven't read the first book, this isn't really a spoiler, but it's just like there's a moment where Jack is just straight up like, nah, I don't like Sarah. Period. It has nothing to do with who she is. It's just the fact that she's a Saurian, and I don't deal with it. Like, I'm not about that life, right? And it's just based upon the relationship that the gods themselves have with it, that have kind of carried, that they have with each other rather, that has carried down to their children. And it's just kind of like, it's kind of like a family feud type thing where it's just like, nah, we don't talk to Asarians. And it cracks me up, but also it influences how they interact with each other when they have to interact with each other, because every time they do, Jack is just like, bruh, why is she here? And Sarah's just like, why do you hate me so much? And it's wonderful. It's fun. But yeah, that was a rant that I don't think anybody asked for, but I don't know. I think world building is so much fun. And I don't know, this is just a personal opinion, but I feel like world building in stories it comes through a lot clearer for the reader when the author themselves has fun with writing it. Because I also feel like sometimes as authors and writers who create things, we get so caught up in creating the rules of the world that we forget that we are also writing about characters and people who live in this world and have to interact with it, and so there are always going to be exceptions to the rule as well. So it's not always going to be like, oh, yeah. So like one of the things for my story, like the gods, there are 5 gods and all the gods have 5 letters in their name. So a lot of the characters have 5 letters in their name, but there are some characters that have more than that or have less than that, simply because like everyone isn't going to follow the rule. There are going to be some people who are like, yeah, just like how in the real world, there are a lot of people who have like biblical names, right? Like Luke or John or Matthew, right? But then there are also a lot of people who have completely unique names that don't show up in the Bible. So, or follow some other type of naming mechanic, like specific to a house. Like I know a family where all the girls have A names and all the boys have J names. And that's just something that their parents decided on. So I kind of wanted that to be reflected in the story as well. But woo, buddy, I'm rambling. To the point, to the comments. Let's see here. Morgan said, I'm struggling with writing on book 3 so far this morning, so I might switch up to outlining a different project. Yeah, giving yourself a break might be worth it. Let's see here. Armor said, I self-edit, mostly line edits at this stage. Okay, cool. Arthur K. McCoy said, I self-edit and run my manuscript through Pro Writing Aid before sending my story to my editor. Same. I got Pro Writing Aid the lifetime subscription when they had it on sale for Black Friday, and I have not regretted that purchase at all. Because I used to in the past do like freelance editing, so I have a generally good grasp of like my own story and like the voice that I want my story to have. And whenever I hire an editor, a lot of times in the past when I've gotten sample edits, I've had editors try to like take out the voice of my writing, and I was like, nah, homie, that's not what I'm looking for. So Pro Writing Aid does a lot of the heavy lifting that I need for like line edits, so that it's like I notice it, and then I can send my manuscript off to my editor for like an evaluation of like the bigger aspects of it. Because honestly, I'll be real with y'all, I don't want nobody telling me like, no, this doesn't sound right. And the biggest issue that I have is that a lot of times my writing is flagged for like passive writing, but I'm just kind of like, this is intentional. It's not a mistake. I know this. I know this, but that's neither here nor there. But slight plug for Pro Writing Aid. I know Pro Writing Aid and Grammarly are kind of the 2 softwares that people kind of talk about. I highly recommend Pro Writing Aid if you write fiction. It's really good at what it does, honestly. So yeah. Let's see here. I'll get there soon enough. Absolutely. Switched around 2 scenes and cleaned them up a bit. Love that for you. Let's see here. I need to do some more world building. That would honestly probably help with all the stuff I'm struggling with. I love world building. So if you ever just want to like set up a meeting and we could just talk world building, I would be so down for that. I love talking about worlds in general. It makes me happy. It brings me joy to my life. Yeah. I love hearing your ramblings. Thank you. It's nice to know that I'm appreciated. Also, Samantha Marie is here. Good morning. Looking forward to settling in and working on my vampire romance for a bit. Ooh, love a good vampire. I love vampires. Honestly, y'all, okay, this is going to be so strange, but I feel like vampires are some of like the coolest like paranormal paranormals, whatever. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I love vampires. I love the idea of vampires because the way my life is set up, I'm like, I'm anemic anyway. So if I could have that problem alleviated and I would be like gorgeous and immortal, like I feel like vampires have it set up to win. Aside from the whole can't go out in the sun thing. You know, we can work that out. We can work that out, right? But the only time I didn't love it was in Twilight because the whole time I was reading Twilight, I was Team Jacob because I'm like, this man is hot. He's warm, actual warm to the touch, and he cares about you, and he's not gonna have you jumping off of cliffs and stuff. Man, I feel like Team Jacob all the way, all the way. But I digress. I digress. Samantha, I hope you have fun with your vampire romance and that it goes well. So, let's see here. Makes me want to world build more. Cool. Talk about world building. It's always fun. It's always fun. You know, I might do something with that. Maybe I'll do something like a world building stream or a video about it or something. I have no idea. I'm not necessarily the best person to ask that right now because my mind is kind of all over the place. But that being said, our time is up. So we are going to get ready to hop into this next sprint. So, okay, really quick. How long do y'all want this timer to be? Do y'all want it to be 25 minutes or do y'all want it to be 30 minutes? I'm good with either one. I just need to know how y'all are feeling so that I can adjust appropriately. So I'm going to give y'all until 50 minutes after the hour to let me know how y'all are feeling so that we can adjust the time and go from there. But yeah, 25 minutes, 30 minutes, let me know in the comments and we will adjust. So I'm hoping to finish up going through whatchamacallit, the rest of this chapter, the rest of this scene, in this sprint. Okay, so let's see here. Ben says 30, Armis says 30, Afroface says 30. So 30 is what we are doing. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate your input because I honestly, I don't like making decisions, y'all. It stresses me out so much because I just want people to be happy. So y'all are making this so much easier for me. Okay, so 30 minutes on the clock. So like I always say, do whatever it is that you need to do to be productive. I'm going to be playing Chill Hop. And since there's no timer, the timer doesn't actually make a sound. Whenever you hear me come back on the mic, that means your time is up. Pencils down, come back and reconvene with the class. Let them know what you did. So that's it. It's 50 minutes after. So let us go ahead and jump into this second sprint. So happy productivity, you guys. All right, you guys, that is it for that sprint. So this is your reminder to do what it is that you need to do to take care of yourself. Whether that is stretching, taking some deep breaths, drinking some water, all that good stuff. And let me know what you did, how you did, all of that good stuff. As for me, it's going pretty steady at this point. I am over here trying to keep track of how many words that I have written for each sprint so that I don't forget. But yeah, it's going pretty good. I was over here writing in my notebook because I was just like, oh, like I said at the beginning of this, I have moments where I'm just kind of like, I don't know what's coming next. Like I'm kind of writing into the void, right? And I got to a point where I was just like, oh, this is how this is going to work, because I was talking to Ben this morning and I was just like, as of right now where I'm at, I was like, the story's not broken, but if I'm not careful, I could very easily break it. And so as I was writing and like reviewing what I had written yesterday, I was like, oh, this is where I was going. This is how this is going to work. So I was like, this solves another problem that I had that I knew I was going to run to in a later chapter. So I was like, great, this solves the problems. And beautiful thing, it doesn't break the outline that I already had. So it actually falls very like nice and neat within it. And I'm just kind of like, great, this is the solution that I was looking for. So I went ahead and wrote some of the main points down so that I don't forget it. And hopefully in this next sprint, I will actually get to implement a few of them. So looking forward to that. Let's see here. Armistead managed to edit another 6 pages. Whoop, whoop. I love the progress that you're making. Ashlet got distracted and started crocheting. That's fair. That's fair. Sometimes we all need a break. It's not a distraction if it's helping your brain. Afroface said, you inspired me. LOL, I started fleshing out my world more to help get out of the hole. Hey, look at me being inspiring. Okay. That's cool. That's cool. I'm glad that's working out for you though. But yeah, like I said, I love world building. So I know, like, for me personally, like kind of like what I was just explaining, like whenever I run into an aspect of the story that I'm not sure is going to work, for me it's normally because I don't know how the world is supposed to work in a way that makes sense but also doesn't break the other rules that I have. Because a lot of the world building and stuff, like my characters are just going through a lot of discovery, so a lot of the world building that happens in the story like happens naturally, usually through Sarah because she's the most sheltered character, and so she's just like learning about the realm like as the reader is learning about the realm. Like she has to ask questions. But in this book, like I said, Brandy's world is kind of getting turned upside down. So having to incorporate things that make sense, but also make sense for her to not have known prior to this point is kind of where I was like, okay, how is this going to work? So kind of fleshing out the details and how that works, and then also making sure that it, like, the world building itself works with what I have already previously set up. So it should be good, because one of the things that I personally love doing is like being able to connect strings that are there in the first book that I may or may not have, I make no promises, have thought about in advance, you know? So yeah, I love it. I'm happy. I'm excited. I'm going to, like I said, I'm trying to get this done. And oh, I will say this, in case you guys missed it at the beginning. I have 6 copies of the limited edition left. And once those are gone, I will not be ordering anymore for the foreseeable future, because I do plan to release the pre-order for book 2 pretty soon. And this is like fair warning. Like if you are not signed up for my newsletter and you enjoy my work, I highly recommend that you sign up for my newsletter. But yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that. But yeah, also I will be letting my newsletter subscribers know about the pre-order first. And there is a reason for that. So yeah. The string connecting is a real challenge. It is, but okay, this is a slight rant because y'all know how much I love anime. But for me, one of the things that I absolutely love about some of like my favorite anime, especially One Piece, is just how everything like ties back together. And I absolutely love that aspect of it. And I really love it when you get a story and it's just like nothing is there without intention. Everything is important, especially when it comes to like characters and stuff, because it's just like you can't, how do I put this? How do I word this? Like with One Piece, you can't read it and think, oh, this is unimportant. Oh, this is just for this specific aspect. This is just for the plot. You can't do that. Like every character, every scene, everything in it is intentional. And it always comes back like full circle later on in the story. And I know that for my own writing, that's something that like I aspire to. I never want any character to be like a throwaway, to be like, oh, that character didn't matter or they didn't matter to the story, because the way I see things is like in real life, that's not how it works. Like every action has consequences. So like even in like book 1, right? And you have Brandy, you know, getting rid of Joyce and Maze, right? There's a reason for it, and it kind of follows her throughout the story as she's learning about everything that's happening in the realm, and she's learning about the gods, and you know she's having to face the challenges that the gods are placing before her. It's just like it was not wasted. It's not wasted, you know. Everything matters. All the characters come back into play. Like none of them are just there simply to be there and to be thrown away, you know. So I kind of like that aspect of it. Oh, absolutely. That's so exciting when she recognized the dots. Exactly. And then my aspiration is to be able to write a story where as you're reading it, you're like, oh snap, what's going to happen next? And then you get to the end and you're like, oh crap. And then you go back to the beginning, you're like, wow, this is what this was leading up to. You know, to like, once you know where the dots go, to be able to go back to the beginning and see all the groundwork that was laid to get you to the realization at the end. You know, I feel like that's what makes a really good story, when you can read it multiple times and get something new out of it each time. You know, that's kind of what I want for my own writing, but I don't know if that's like I don't want to say it's too ambitious, because I don't think it's too ambitious, but it's definitely one of those things where it's just like I don't know. I feel like it's one of those big dreams, you know, where it's just like, yeah, I want people to be able to read my books multiple times and like get something out of it every time. Like, I don't know, but that's what I want. That's what I want. But yeah, like Ben said, everything is important and has greater meaning, even if you don't realize it at the time. Exactly. And I feel like as writers, we have to be mindful of that and make sure that everything that we are writing not only makes sense, but it's intentional. Because I feel like it's super easy to be like, yeah, I'm just going to write this one scene, I'm going to write this one character, and it's just going to be to fill this one purpose. But I feel like, for me at least, when I start thinking like bigger picture, like, no, I can't just write these characters in and not have them have meaning, right? Or them have them not have them not serve a purpose. So I just, yeah, everything has meaning. I don't ever want somebody to read my book and be like, "Oh yeah, this character at the beginning doesn't matter." Like even, like I don't want to ruin it for anyone who hasn't read the book, but, you know, there are characters that you meet in the very beginning who you might think are just like, "Oh, these characters don't matter." They do. They absolutely do. So, throwing that out there. But yeah, other than that, how are you guys? How are you guys doing? I am, ooh, I'm good, but I also realized that today I'm feeling like a little tired because normally I'm trying to do like 100 million things and I still absolutely have 100 million things I need to do. But it's very interesting to just be like, yeah, I'm just going to write today. Like that is my goal. I will do everything else that I need to do tomorrow. And that's, I don't know, that's kind of freeing in a way. But um I am going to stay on stream until I meet my word count goal. So I'm thinking hopefully that won't be too bad. Especially once I actually get into drafting, because right now I'm just like reading over what I wrote. But yeah. Let's see here. Author K. McCoy said, being intentional with your words, scene by scene. I love that. Yeah. It's just, I'm not going to ramble because I get really passionate about it. But one of my things as a writer that I tell people when I'm also coaching is just like, especially when it comes to like revisions and stuff, like just make sure that every scene has a purpose. Like every moment, every line, everything has to have a purpose. Kind of like if you're baking a cake, you're not going to just throw some mustard in there just for the sake of throwing some mustard in there if it doesn't work. Like that doesn't make any sense. Right? Everything that you put into it is going to have an intention. If you're putting sugar into it, you're trying to make it sweet. If you're putting eggs into it, you're trying to do whatever eggs do in baking. Baking was probably not a good idea, an analogy to go with, because I can't bake to save a life, but you get the point. You get the point. If you're baking a feast for someone, you're not going to just throw in random stuff that doesn't go together. You're not going to put raisins in your mac and cheese just to put raisins in your mac and cheese. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. You got to be intentional. I'm hungry. I should probably stop talking about food. But that's our 10-minute break, you guys. So we are going to hop back into these sprints. We're going to keep it 30 minutes for the rest of these sprints, only because I really don't feel like going back and changing the timer again. So we're going to put 30 minutes on the clock. So do whatever it is that you need to do to be productive today. Get done what you need to get done. If you're writing, happy writing. And the timer does not make a sound. So once you hear me come back on the mic, time is up, pencils down, share with the class what you have done. But yeah, that's it. So let's get into the sprint. Happy writing, everyone. All right, you guys, that is it for that sprint. So let me know what you did, how you did, all of the good stuff. And this is also your reminder to take care of yourself. So stretch, drink some water, breathe, take some deep breaths, meditate, do whatever it is that you need to do to take care of yourself and make sure that you got this. So, and let me know how you're doing in the comments. So, I am officially to the point where I'm done rereading, and I am writing, and it's so interesting. I'm up to 539 words, so I think in the next sprint, my goal is to get to double that at the very least, and go ahead and break 1,000 words. But I'm getting to a point in the story where it's just like Brandy as a character is like changing in and of herself. And I'm trying to find a good balance because like they're just I don't know how to really talk about it without giving away too much, but there are aspects to the story and to Brandy's character growth and her arc as like a person that are happening in this chapter, and I'm just kind of like trying to find that balance between who she was and who she's becoming, because it's not like a switch. It's not something that just oh flip, we're done, we're a brand new person. Like it's something that she's actively going through and dealing with, and she doesn't really have like that guiding hand like some other people have in other stories. So like she doesn't really have like that mentor or that reliable figure at this moment, and so she's just trying to like work through things, and like she's like 21, you know, 21 going on 22, and she's got all of these things that she's working through, and then it's just like curveball after curveball, and just at a point where she is not necessarily having to process it, but having to really deal with it. And I'm just kind of like, I love this growth for her, but it's also a little bit slower going, because the thing that I don't want is to write Brandy into a character that she's not. And I really want the people who read book one to still, and who like really vibed with Brandy and liked her, to still feel that way in book two, but feel like they are on this journey and they can see what's happening without feeling like she's being stripped of some of the aspects that make her who she is, because I don't want to do that. So just trying to like write her growth in a meaningful way without taking away a lot of the core elements that make up who she is. But also I feel like it's one of those things, like when you're like, I don't know, when you're a teenager and then like you hit your 20s and then you start to like actually grow, like who you are in your 20s is, it seems so far from who you were as a teenager, but at the same time like you're not a completely different person. You know, those things, those that person who you were as a teenager is still a part of your history and who you were, and it's still a part of who you're becoming. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but I just know that I am at a point where I'm trying to write Brandy's character and I want to make her compelling, but I also don't want to change who she is fundamentally. So yeah, yeah. But let's see here. Afroface said the world building helped for sure. I wrote more words. Love that for you. Artemis got another 5 page edited. You are flying through this. I love that for you. I really do. I really do. Samantha Marie said, got through the read through of what I have so far and spent time brainstorming Act 2. Great. Sounds amazing. Arthur K. McCoy said, dang, things just started to get good again. Just rewrote a scene, hoping to flesh out the outline I have for the rest of my story. Awesome. Awesome. Cool. I'm just like, I'm processing because I'm like, rewrote a scene and hoping to flesh out the outline I have for the rest of my story. So I was just like, flesh out the outline. I was just like, oh, okay. That took a second for my brain to catch up. Don't know why, but cool. You got this. You got this. Let's see here. I said, still chilling and crocheting. Always love growth. It's a real balancing act when trying to keep the core intact. It really is. It really is. I don't know. I love Brandy as a character so much. It's just like, I just want to make sure that she stays who she is, especially since, just like as a person, right? Like I have been working on other stories with other characters, and I always write stories about Black girls who aren't all that nice, but they are still fundamentally different from each other, and I'm just kind of like, I don't want the elements of the other characters that I've already started working on to like melt into Brandy by accident, and they kind of become one character, if that makes sense. So that's also something that I'm trying to avoid. But yeah, see, Aaron said, "Thank you, Chelsea. It's finally going faster. It was like pulling teeth a week ago." No, I feel that on like a fundamental level. There are just some moments where it's just like editing is just like, why can't I figure this out? This isn't working, but I don't know how to fix it. I don't know how to fix it. Literally, that's where I was at with like chapter 10 and 11. Like, it was just like, it was killing me. And I was just like, this ain't it. This ain't it, but I don't know how to fix it. So I understand. I'm glad that it's going so much easier and faster for you. Like, I'm really happy for you. Because we were talking about this in the Discord server where we do sprints. So, slight aside, I run a Discord server called the Melanin Network, where it's a private invite only server for Black authors, and we do writing sprints together there. Like when I'm not streaming, like we'll just get together and we'll write and we'll talk and stuff. And one of the things that we were talking about is whether or not we enjoy editing or drafting or whatever. And I was just like, I love drafting because I love creating stories, but I also really love editing. I feel like that is my favorite my favorite aspect of writing, because I'm like, I can write and I can create without actually having to like make it up right then and there. So there's something to editing that I really do enjoy. So yeah. Um Curious, how do y'all feel about it? What is your favorite part of the writing process? Just out of curiosity. I like editing, especially when it's just that specific point of like self edits where you get to go back and read through what you wrote and you're just like tweaking it and cleaning it up, but it's not necessarily like you have major rewrites at this point. It's just like that beautiful moment between like yourself and your beta readers where you're like you're cleaning it up for them, but you haven't like sent it out for like true feedback just yet. Yeah, that's the point that I like. And as Benjamin pointed out, I like editing my own stuff, not for other people. Only because I realize that I'm one of those people where I just like, for myself, I like knowing that if I see a problem, I can go ahead and fix it. And I can fix it the way that I think it needs to be fixed. When you're editing for other people, you have to give suggestions. And when you edit for other people, there is so much emotion involved. And I'm really not good at navigating negative emotions that are directed at me from other people. But it's just kind of like, I don't know. My experience with editing for other people hasn't all been negative, but it hasn't all been positive either. And I don't know, it's just kind of hard for me to be like, hey, I think you're great and I think your writing is good, but I also think that this isn't working. And it's kind of hard when you have to point out things to people that they don't necessarily see themselves, but then when you point it out, they see it, but then they're kind of angry at you for pointing it out, like, grr, thank you, grr. And I don't navigate that really well, so I don't do a whole lot of editing for other people anymore. Um, Another rant, sorry. But yeah, I love your tagline, by the way. Thank you. Honestly, when I said I write books about Black girls who aren't all that nice, I was not expecting it to stick for like it did. I was just literally stating a fact. I was literally just being like, this is what my books are about. Like these are my main characters, because all of the stories that I have planned to write, they're literally about they're always I'm always going to write a Black girl as the protagonist. I'm always going to write a Black girl as a protagonist. And I'm not nice as a person like myself. And this idea of like having to write Black girls who are like nice to everyone and vibe with everyone they meet, and this idea of like not having to make sure that they're not threatening. Like, no, my Black girls are threats. They will absolutely hurt you if you cross the line. And I love that for them. They have the freedom to do that in their worlds. And I'm not, well, who am I to deny them that freedom? You know, and also, like, I say this all the time. I will die on this hill. If you say a character is something, they need to do that thing. So if you tell me that a character is an assassin, I want to see them getting rid of people. If you tell me that your character is a professional wrestler, I want to see them throwing chairs and jumping off of ring corners and like drop kicking people. Okay? If you tell me that your character is a martial artist, I want to see them training. I want to see them fighting. I want to see them being a martial artist. If you tell me your character is a world-class chef, I want some Gordon Ramsay type energy, okay? I want somebody who's got personality and skill to back it up, okay? I'm looking for Shokugeki. That's an anime reference if you haven't seen it. But I'm just like, I want to see it happening, and I feel like I feel like growing up there were so many books where the main characters, especially girls, were just like, oh yeah, she's this, and oh yeah, she's that, or she can do this and she can do that, and then the whole time she's out here getting like rescued by the menfolk, and I'm like, didn't you just say that this girl can defend herself? Like, and I'm not talking about on the level of like, oh, she's out here being reckless and picking fights for no reason. But like, if you tell me that a character can defend themselves, I expect to see them defending themselves. Don't give me information that is irrelevant. Don't tell me your character's an assassin if they ain't never doing no assassin stuff. Don't tell me that your character is a model and she ain't never modeling and that fact never comes up. Like, just tell me that she's pretty. Just tell me that she's over average pretty. Like, there are other ways to go about it, but that is my rant. So that kind of goes like when I say that my black girls aren't nice, like they're going to do the things that they are good at, and they're not going to be out here panicking and making space and time for people who are uncomfortable with them because of the way that their skin looks. Like, I'm just not about that life. Like, no, 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 we're not doing that. We're not doing that. And because of that, a lot of times my characters come off as not nice. I have been told very frequently, actually, that by people who are, you know, and they are always like, Brandy's unlikable. Like, Brandy, no one could ever like or love Brandy, and they don't get it. And I'm just like, that's cool. You don't get it, but that's okay. But that her not being best friends with Sarah does not make her unlikable. Her choosing not to welcome everybody who she ever meets with a smile and open arms does not make her unlikable. That is not true by any stretch of the imagination. And the idea that characters with brown skin have to be smiling and like open and friendly and like basically non-threatening is just kind of like, they ain't gonna make you comfortable, bruh. That's not what this is about. Like, adjust your thinking. Adjust your very small mind to understand that nobody has to make you comfortable simply for existing. So that's my hill. I will happily die on it. And yeah, so all my characters are gonna be black girls, and they're not gonna be nice. And like I said, I've already started writing the character for my next series, and she too is not very nice. And I am excited to write her story and to share it with you guys. So hopefully y'all like it. That's my brand. That's who I am. If you want me to write black girls, I'm gonna be like, oh my god, why doesn't she like me? Why are they treating me this way? Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not the author for you. Never gonna happen. Not gonna do it. So yeah, that was my TED talk. Thank you for coming to it. Let's see here. Afrofae loves rereading and making writing better. So we're on the same page. Aramis said, my favorite part is world building and plotting. You know what? Yeah, I agree, but also not plotting. Me and plotting do not get along. We are strangers to each other. I've grown to love and appreciate editing, but really enjoy outlining it, coming up with the story. I love daydreaming about new premises. I ain't gonna lie. Let's see here. Ben mentioned that the actual name of the anime that I mentioned is called Food Wars Shokugeki no Soma. It's an anime. It's also not one that I would recommend that you watch with your family or with a parent, but it is really good. Let's see here. Hard agree. I hate the heroine saved by the hero trope. It needs to stop. God, yes. I hate it so much. Like, and here's the thing. I don't mind it if your character's incompetent. So like, in my book, Sarah is always going to have to be saved by someone because Sarah can't do squat by herself. Not physically. Like, if someone is physically attacking her, the most she can do is run away. She has no defense mechanisms. That's fine. That's part of her character. But something that you will never catch me doing is have Brandy out here in a fight and Jack has to come through and rescue her. Like, no, we are not doing that. We are not hyping Brandy up as the best of the shadows, the Queen's Blade, and she out here getting rescued by somebody else because she can't handle her own. No, thank you. No, we're not doing that. We are absolutely not doing that. I reject thee in the name of Jesus. Absolutely not. No. But That being said, I could sit here and rant about a lot of things. We are absolutely not going to do that right now. We are going to get back into this next sprint. Um, so next sprint, 30 minutes on the clock. Y'all know how this works. I'm going to put chill hop on, and when you hear me come back on the mic, that means that your time is up. Pencils down, share what you did with the class. So we are going to get into this. So happy sprinting, everyone.